Hey everybody. So it's been a while since I have made any kind of post or update because I've been really wiped out lately. My gastroparesis has left me feeling sick quite a lot of the time, and I just really haven't had much energy at all. I've also had some complications with the tube, which, as you can see, is gone. On Tuesday, I don't know if it bent or kinked or just dislodged itself or something, but suddenly it was super painful in my throat and I couldn't stop retching. And that went on for most of the afternoon. So I spoke to my dietitian and she said stop the feed. And if you can't get it under control, then go into hospital and get them to check it out. So I went into hospital, and after a long afternoon there, they did an X-ray and they said, well, we can't really tell from this if it's in the right place or not. We're confident that it's below your diaphragm, which means that it's safe to feed. But of course, the problem is that if it's below my diaphragm, there's no guarantee that it's actually past my stomach and into the jejunum where it needs to be. And they couldn't give me any kind of assurance on that front because, of course, X-rays are very two-dimensional, and without contrast or anything like that, then there's just no way of knowing where it ended. The intense gagging died down, thankfully. I didn't get home from hospital until 1 o'clock in the morning that night. They were talking about admitting me so that I could see my GI doctors, but at the last minute managed to get me a kind of urgent appointment with them, which I went to yesterday afternoon, where it turns out that they'd already been discussing potentially the possibility of putting me on TPN, which, if you don't know what that is, so there are different kinds of feeding. There's enteral feeding, which is through the nasal tube or through a tube in your stomach around here. And then there's something called TPN, or total parenteral nutrition, which they put a port or a permanent cannula called a Hickman line or a port or a central line or something like that into one of the large veins somewhere around here. And you are fed with a substance that isn't like what they give you for the J tube. This is something that goes directly into your veins. And apparently they'd already been discussing that as a possibility for me, which I didn't know about and is a little bit disconcerting. I didn't think things were quite that serious, but I guess I am struggling. So the other option is that they placed a surgical tube, which they seemed really reluctant to do, but after some talking we all agreed that I need the support. There's no way that I can manage on my own. I can't intake enough fluids and I can't intake enough nutrition without some kind of support. I'm struggling to get maybe 600 to 800 calories a day into me because of the nausea on my own, and that includes fluids, because it's not just about the food going in, it's the volume of anything, whether it's liquid or food, it doesn't matter. The problem, the volume issue, is still the same regardless of what substance is going into my stomach. So I'm permanently in the state of slight dehydration, which is probably not doing my kidneys and stuff any good either. So yeah, we took the tube out. I have to say, in some ways, I'm relieved. It's really nice to be able to sleep and not have the end of the tube kind of around here, like digging into my chest. And it's nice to not be catching things on the long tube when I had the giving set connected to it. Catching that and then nearly ripping the dressing off your face is a really horrific sensation. Doesn't do your skin any good either. So it's nice in that way, but it's also really scary because now I am back on my own, trying to not lose weight, and I just managed to put 2 pounds on as well over the last couple of weeks, which is probably now going to go. I've got these Frezubin not meal replacement, but kind of nutrition support shakes, but they're so dense that I can only drink one of them a day because I can't fit more than that in. They'll help, but they're still not going to adequately cover the shortfall that the tube was doing. And now I don't know how long it's going to be until some kind of next plan is made. Um, I'm going to get an appointment with the nutrition team to discuss things. They've agreed that I need the support, which is good at least. But you know, I've got to wait for an appointment, and then after the appointment, I'm going to have to wait for whatever it is that they decide to do. So I guess it could be another month or two before the next thing happens, unless they rush it. Um, my BMI is low. It's down to about 16.4, which is pretty bad. Um, but I don't know how much they'll rush it. It's not like I'm literally, skin and bones. Anyway, it's also really frustrating that I had this, month off work for being in hospital for 2.5 weeks and then recuperating from that for another week. And that was all for nothing. And I only got statutory sick pay for that. So I basically lost a month's salary for something that didn't even work out, which is really frustrating. And also frustrating because it means I'm going to have to lose some more time from work and some more pay at some point when whatever it is the next thing we're doing happens. Yeah, so this is where we're at the moment. No tube, back to struggling to make it on my own and waiting for the NHS to decide what it's going to do with me. Anyway, that's it for now. I really am looking forward to making a Q&A video about Ehlers-Danlos loss or gastroparesis or what it's like to have a feeding tube. Any questions that you've got about that, please send them my way in a comment or find me a message of some way. I'd love to hear from you, and as ever, please subscribe and thumbs up to the videos, and I will see you all very soon.